they've been paying towards this building every year since the cost of the building is more than what even they're paying. So the 2024, they've paid it. 2025, they've paid part of it. It's not all towards the building. We'll check that one.
Yeah, that's exactly where we are. What we are interested in is in the payments. You know, they are flagging that 2023 was not paid. You said it was. That's why I asked you on yearly basis. And now you are confirming that 2025 was not paid, which means the payment in 2024, 2025 will be completed in 2026, right? Yes?
2025?
Yes.
Yeah, will be completed. Part of it will be completed, but
Perfect.
part of it was paid in 2025.
Perfect. That's exactly what the auditors are saying. 2023 was not paid because it didn't reflect in the accounts. They saw a payment for 2024 and 2025, and for them, they are seeing it as those payments relate to the year in which they were made. So that's why I'm saying your submission should have been the payments were done in areas, and we would have passed this level.
That's what I'm saying. It was paid in areas.
Can you take the mic?
Yeah, what I'm saying, some of these payments are made after the year towards the buildings.
Then do we agree to say the auditors are right in what they flagged?
And the account is not open. They would not see it in that account.
So I think we have passed this stage. It is confirmed that the payments are done in arrears. So it's correct for the auditors to say 2023 was not paid because the payment was done in 2024. Right now, part of 2025 is pending. So I will request that they send us an account of the payment that was done in respect of 2025. Yeah.
So the issue on 2023 is established that it was not paid. Geology?
Yeah, it was paid in areas.
Now there is no date stipulated when you to regularize like in your response. Can you give us commitment on that?
Once the account is open, I think we can.
Who will open the account?
As I said, we've started the process.
You said once the account is open, who will open the account?
It should be the ministry.
Ministry, not geology?
We've written to the ministry to facilitate that.
For them to open the account?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we are trying to say. Give us commitment. It cannot be vague once the account is open.
I'll do consultation with the ministry and get back.
Okay. We'll give you maybe by next week to give us feedback on that consultation. Right? Because that should be part of our report. If you cannot give us the time frame for regularization, the report will do so. Can we go to page 102?
Honorable Chair, I just want to refer us on page, GRA is around, they are represented. We can go back to 85.
I want to finish with
Geology.
geology, or this page, this one is fisheries.
Yes.
Okay, so we are done with geology. And where's GRA? Where are they? Can you explain why you coming late? Huh?
I mean, we tender our apology. We came late because we were working on some issues because we have some audits that are ongoing at the moment, our financial statement audit. So
1
internally,
hour,
so
1
that's what
hour
we
for
are trying
5
to
minutes
fish out
late.
and then come, yeah.
Hmm?
Very sorry for coming late anyway.
You see, we had to skip GRA because the AG could not stand for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh?
Yeah, sorry for that.
Honorable members, can we go back to
Can I get the
page 85? Am I right? That's where GRA starts?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay. Use of fixed weekly exchange rates rather than daily market rate. On that, the audit recommended that GRA ensure correct exchange rate is used in the payment of scanning fees as per the daily valuation rate issued by Central Bank of the Gambia instead of weekly. Management response, GRA.
Yeah, management response. The Gambia Revenue Authority take note of the above observation. However, it is important to clarify that the GRA does not directly collect scanning fees. They are collected by Vista Bank as our escrow agent between the government of the Gambia and the NITI Scan Limited. The escrow bank Vista uses Central Bank weekly exchange rates, which are published on the CBG website. In view of the foregoing, GRA does not have the mandate to determine or influence the exchange rates applied by Vista Bank and the collection of the scanning fee, contrary to the suggestion made by the auditors. That's our response.
NAO.
Auditors comment. The main concern is not about how currency conversion is done, but about weak oversight and financial controls in the contract. This highlights the need for better monitoring and checking to ensure the government interests are protected. One reason is as follows. Delegation of a function does not discharge delegation of responsibility. Even though the Gambia Revenue Authority has given Vista Bank the job of collecting revenue, GRA still holds full responsibility for making sure the entire collection process is complete, accurate, and benefit the government. The escrow system set up in the contract is something GRA must oversee to ensure it reports properly. The audit does not say GRA should control the central bank exchange rates, but it points out there is a serious gap in control to check and verify that everything is done right. Details are shown in Appendix I.
GRA.
As far as we are concerned, GRA has done whatever it should do, because the auditor's observation was about exchange rate, using daily exchange rate, weekly exchange rate rather than daily exchange rates. So as far as other controls are concerned, we are doing that, because it's manifested in the collections. So if at all there were no controls in place, better controls in place, so the whole process would not have gone smoothly. So as far as we are concerned, we are doing whatever we should do as far as the collaboration is concerned. So in doing the daily exchange rate that they are talking about, I think CBG, if I can quote myself very well, CBG started using exchange rates, daily exchange in 2024. So for us to say they have to do daily exchange rate, we cannot be able to determine that for Vista Bank. Definitely, these are escrow accounts, so we don't have the mandate to enforce that and then tell Vista Bank to do that. But notwithstanding, we'll engage as when we go back and then see whether there is a possibility. Thank you.
Audit.
In 2023, Central Bank was also issuing daily exchange rates. I think it started in 2023, not 2024, as mentioned by the representative of GRA.
Jerry, once more.
Yeah, we took note of what he's saying, and then when we go back, then we can check and see if at all that possibility is there using daily exchange rate rather than weekly exchange rate. Because daily exchange rate can also may also pose problems, because you can cap a rate today and then you continue using the same rate, forgetting that it should change. So where that happens, it can also become a problem. Thank you.
If you take note of what you said, how do you intend to regularize that?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. When we go back, we'll sit and then contact Vista Bank and then the scanning agency to see if that is a possibility, and then so that we can use that. Because I know what they are saying. Maybe because the exchange rate the influence of the exchange might cause some discrepancies, as they alluded in their report. But notwithstanding, when we go back, we'll sit down with our partners and then make sure that this problem is resolved.
Now, if you sit with your partners and then what you resolve to, that should be communicated to the committee to weigh that with the position of NAO.
Yes.
To inform our report. And then on that, we'll give you a timeline to get the feedback, 2050.
Thank you, Chair.
Members?
Chair,
Yes.
thank you. Chair, if you go to Appendix J, you would see the discrepancies the auditors flagged. Although the values are very minimal, okay, but there is room for improvement.
Exactly.
So what I would advise is go with that engagement. It shouldn't be difficult
No, it shouldn't be
to get the daily rates and apply them.
going forward. Yeah.
Okay, because if you look at January, the first week you are using 61. Then the CBG rate during the week shifted to 62.17.
Yeah.
Okay. End of January you are using 60.75 when the CBG rate shifted to 61.81. Okay, so you'll have minimal differences of 3,735. You add cumulatively to around 96,000. You know, so I would advise you do that engagement and see how best you can improve on it, even if at all it's one butut. Let it be captured.
It's matters.
Thank you, Chair.
We'll do that, Honorable.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you are given up to 25th to report on the outcome of the engagement.
25th.
25th rather. Page 87, still GRA. Lack of independent cost verification in GRA's consensus agreement with NIC-TC scan. That is noted by the auditors, and they recommended that GRA verify the actual cost incurred by NIC-TC scan in procuring and installation of scanner, and details submit to the audit team for verification. Management response?
Yes, Honorable Chair, I will do the responses, and then, if you can see, I came with my technical team. So if I do the response, then for the elaboration,
Can
be
go
done
ahead,
with the
yeah.
technical team. Yeah. Just for the records. Yeah. Okay, we wish to make it categorically clear that in the concession agreement between the government of the Gambia and the NIC-TC scan limited facilitated by GRA, there is no clause regarding cost verification during or pre or post procurement stages. The evaluation committee at the time involved GRA contract committee, MD Gambia Ports Authority, corporate stakeholder, PS Ministry of Interior, corporate stakeholder, and principal economist, Mafia, and PPP Directorate, corporate stakeholder, and assessed the technical and financial proposal of the bidders, and found that NIC-TC Scan Limited to be the most responsive bidder technically and financially. The monitoring of all PPPs projects is the responsibility of the Director of PPP under the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs.
This report.
Auditor's comment. The GRA is responsible for the careful management and accountability of public funds, ensuring value for money and compliance with financial regulations. Despite the evaluation committee selecting the bidder, GRA remains accountable for ongoing contract management and invoice verification. While the Directorate of PPP provide oversight, but does not replace GRA's operational role. Therefore, the issue remains unresolved up to the time of finalizing this management letter.
Jerry,
Honorable Chair, I can now allow our procurement specialist, who was part of the process and then he attended the meeting, to fully
Mr. Chair.
elaborate on this matter. Mr.
who is he?
Jenkins,
Yes,
Mohammed,
with your permission, I want to bring to the
That's
attention.
the man you are referring to?
exactly, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to bring the attention to the attention of the Auditor General that this is a PPP project, totally different from the conventional procurement processes where, let's say for instance, when contractors submit invoices, they are verified. Here, an investor is coming to invest 21 point something million, all by himself, for 10 years. And during that period, government is also benefiting 40% out of every container that is charged. Then after 10 years, government owns up everything. So, and this is an ongoing project. I wonder how we would be able to verify the cost when this project is not executed. Perhaps after 10 years, it would have been feasible for us to come with an actual cost that has been expended. So this is the challenge that we have in providing the cost verification.
Do you have a the PPP agreement with the investor?
When the ministry asked us to take up this project, then Mr. Sane was the honorable minister. He wrote to say that cabinet has given GRA the mandate to proceed with this project. I remember, if I can read the letter. This letter was dated on the 2nd of March, and it was addressed to the Commissioner General, and it reads, "We hereby convey to you the conclusion of Cabinet on the above subject matter, which was discussed during the 7th Cabinet meeting held on Tuesday, 14 November and Tuesday, 21st November 2027. The Cabinet decided that Gambia Revenue Authority should manage the procurement process through competitive bidding. By this letter, you are given the mandate to proceed with the process. However, Cabinet has emphasized that should the contract be awarded to an international company, local partnerships should be encouraged." Now, the PPP is under the Ministry of Finance, and the minister must have been aware of the existence of the directorate. But because there was a stalemate, so GRA was asked to tackle it. And when this letter came in, we said, okay, it is possible, but it has to be through a PPP project. And that we develop our performance specification, what we expect this scanner to do for us. I remember in those days, with the existing scanner, one day scan 1 or 2 containers, it is overheated. And then customers were paid unnecessary demurrage fees. So this guy brought, when we opened the bids, with this current scanner that we have, you can drive 30 kilometers per hour, and it would capture all the images within the container, and it can scan up to 300 containers on a daily basis. So really, it will be difficult for us to provide the cost that they are talking about, independent verification. When government is not spending, here is somebody coming from outside to spend. And then would employ Gambians, train them, to own up after 10 years. And even during that period, government is getting 40% out of every container that is collected. So GRA just facilitated this thing. And in the end, we hand over to the Ministry of Finance. Whatever transactions are happening, GRA is not privy to it. We did something on behalf of the government, and we handed over. And there is documentary evidence to show that when we did everything, we wrote to the minister, handing over the contract and everything.
And those documents were provided to the auditors?
Yes, and then this.
Sorry. Those documents were provided to the auditors?
Yes, we have. I remember this document. I have provided more than 10 times to the Auditor General. In fact, if Sana was here, excuse my language, I remember I told one of them that the next time you come to my office and ask for this document, I will spit on your face. And you all laugh.
Okay.
Because I cannot understand year in, year out.
Okay, let me get to the
we give them
auditors.
the document, and they still ask us problems.
Let me get to the auditors.
Honorable Chair.
Jerry, you want to comment?
Yes. I can understand that when these audits were ongoing, each time we respond to them, we photocopy all the necessary documents accompanying that response that we send to them. And then we send them electronic copy, and at the same time, we'll put this in an envelope we give to our records officer for delivery at their office. I think maybe Bubakar can witness to that. Yeah.
NAO?
Yes, Honorable Chair, I can confirm that indeed the contract document was made available to the audit team. This is a very sensitive area because, as you are aware now, government is moving into PPP arrangement. It's very new in this country, and as auditors, we thought deem it necessary that if such investment is made, there should be some sort of verification done in order to confirm whether what was indeed mentioned in the contract agrees with what the licensee or the concessionaire stated in the contract. So, however, we carefully looked at the management response provided. After careful thought, after the audit, concluding the audit, we realized that GRA should not be the main body responsible for any issue regarding this contract. If there are any answers, this should come from the PPP, Directorate of PPP. Thank you.
Yes, I think the query raised by the auditors is really very valid, but now the issue is like, who is responsible to provide such an information? You know, it doesn't really matter the kind of employment. We are not talking about that. We are talking about verification, whether the amount this concession indicated 23.1 million is in fact the cost of the equipment. You see, even if the equipment costs 50 million, there needs to be verification because of the government is going to pay for it in the first place. He is providing upfront payment for the equipment, and then they will take their money, and then they will take their money until for about 10 years. Now, two things should be taken into consideration by the PPP or the facilitator, in this case the GRA. That is the actual cost or the equivalence on also the lifespan of the machine. 10 years for a machine is maybe too long, but they need to also understand what would be the residual value at the end of those 10 years. So I think the verification is key. They need to find out exactly the average cost of this type of machine before they enter into a contract. And I think this would take us back to the issue of the lack of a PPP Act by the government of the Gambia, which we've been asking for. They have a framework, but a framework is not really an act of parliament. So I think two things we need to recommend here. First, before government enter into such agreements, I think they need to understand the value of these machines and their lifespan. And number two, we need to come up with an act of parliament that would guide the business before they enter into any PPP. Because right now what they have is a framework, and the framework really is questionable in terms of its legal implications in the long run. Thank you.
Honorable Chair.
Sorry, can I come? Okay. No, come after you.
Yes. I thank Bubakar very well for coming up with that idea, because when the audit was ongoing, then I remember there was a time we referred them back to PPP. He said, before you engage us, why not go and engage PPP? So they are the right people to engage on this matter. But now he has also come up with the same idea. So I thank him very much for that.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think Walker did well because my initial question was supposed to go to the auditors. Because the only reference I saw of the contract in your findings is with regards to the investor, that is Nick TC Scan, recovering the $23.1 million. You know, so with regards to monitoring and evaluation and who does what, there are no references from the contract that will say he is responsible or he is responsible. So since this is a contract, I was going to ask the auditors to provide us with those clarifications. But he did. Just what I want to note is to say it is very crucial that you start that process, engage the Department of PPP, and then ensure that all the mechanisms are there. And this would have been captured from the onset. You know, so I'm pretty sure if you go through the contract, you'll be able to find the relevant provisions that will give you a clear benchmark as to what should be done next. So on that, do we disregard the auditor's further comments that says that JRA is responsible for careful management and then whatnot? Do we disregard that in our report writing?
I think to handle this further, I would suggest that the August body requests for all these consensual agreements, go through them and know exactly. Probably there will be adequate clauses in those concession agreements to state which party will be relevant or which party should do what. Because I know there are a number of them, it's not only one. This is across government, there is another one in interior. So this is something that government must be, that the August body must be keen in to inquire what are these concession agreements that government is signing, entering into different, the different parties, third parties. Because we have a related finding on this as well. So it will be of interest, like I said, we know exactly how this operates and what are government interests or how is government interest being protected. Thank you.
Just a last submission, Chair. Thank you, Babukar. Yes, Parliament would do that, but Parliament relies on you. And for obvious reasons, yes, we might lack the expertise to interpret what those provisions are saying. And to some extent, even if we do, like to gather consensus on it would be. That's why having the auditor advising Parliament is born out of a very, very good notion. So I'll propose that, Chair, we'll shift that baton to you. For us, we'll go through them just to equip ourselves, and then you give us the independent opinion. So that's why I'm still asking this question. Okay. Do we still stick to the auditor's further comments, or do we take it out? Because your advice is what we are going to take. And now we've had the submission from both ends.
I think we need to do further work on this and yes, then report back to the committee accordingly.
So as it stands now, we can just put it aside.
Aside for now, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Can we proceed to 89 rather? GRE, failure to follow due process in acquiring scanner equipment through a consensual deal with Nick TC Scan. The audit recommended that management ensure all future PPP agreements undergo the mandatory and comprehensive review by Directorate of PPP and the PPP committee prior to execution in full compliance with the requirements set out in the Public-Private Partnership Act. And management response.
Honorable Chair, I think this one, we've confirmed that this was resolved following the conclusion of the audit. The documents missing were later seen.
It was not reported in 2024?
No, it was not recorded. It was resolved.
Honorable members, any comment?
Chair, you give us direction now.
Yeah, it was not reported in 2024 and henceforth the issue is resolved. We proceed. 92. Denial of access to critical information system, executor wall, and then Camtest net, and then the NIC TC scan findings under the audit recommended and urge the management of GRA to provide this information without delay to audit team for review. Management response.
The management response. Management disagrees with this finding as it presents a material misrepresentation of the facts. The assertion that GRA denied the National Audit Office access, credential, and permission is incorrect. The NAO formal request documented in its correspondence was for complete copies of the entire Asikuda wall and GamTaxNet database to be extracted and removed from the GRA premises. This is fundamentally different from a request for access. The authority declined the specific request for copies on two clear grounds. One, management considers that sensitive taxpayer information from our secure premises would potentially compromise data integrity and protection. The legal basis of our position is defined by Section 1604 of the Constitution and Section 14C of the National Audit Office Act 2015, which grants powers of inspection and access, not the right to copy entire operational database. 2, data security. Providing copies of database containing sensitive and confidential taxpayer information would create an unaccessible security risk and would be dereliction of GRA's statutory duty to protect taxpayer data. Contrary to the findings, GRA demonstrated full cooperation throughout the audit. At the entrance meeting, management assured the NAO of its full support. In response to the request, the authority provided the audit team full, unfettered, on-site access to the live system and proactively offered the assistance of our technical staff to help them extract any specific records or data required for their exercise on our premise. Therefore, management requested that this finding be expunged from or fundamentally amended in the final report to accurately reflect the full, that full access was granted and that the point of contention was specific request for copies of the entire database, not a denial of access. Thank you.
NAO.
Auditor's comment. The finding on access limitation is maintained because the offered on-site viewing did not provide the unfettered access needed for an effective and independent IT audit. Legal provisions empower the Auditor General to obtain copies of electronic records in a usable format, not just limited screen access. While data security concerns are respected, the refusal to agree on secure data transfer methods hindered the statutory audit mandate.
GRA.
Honorable Chair, I can now hand over to our technical team. Our Director of IT is here. Mr. Sedikan can further elaborate. Parliament, okay.
Mr. Chair, GRA disagrees with the auditor's comment. What we offered the auditors were read-only access to our production database.
Sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
Oath. We didn't take the required oath.
Wow.
No, I was here the last time and we took it.
Did you take the oath?
Yeah, I was here the last time. This is not my first day.
All right, noted.
He has been coming.
You can proceed.
Yes, yes, Sadiq can hear.
Okay, but maybe you can take the oath. Yeah, please.
Oh, you did not?
Yeah, so you can read.
You have a copy?
Very well.
Can you consult, sir? Okay, the one on the oath can proceed.
Okay. Like I said, we offer them read-only access to our production database. This would have created the unfettered access that they required. And also, the read-only access do not take away their ability to take records, copies of electronic records, because they could have done it also with a format of their choosing. So we still maintain that GRA provided them with all the access they required to do their auditing.
Audit?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think at this juncture, we need clarity from the August body whether the existing laws, i.e. the Constitution and the NAO Act, inadequate in terms of providing copies of electronic database of systems used by different institutions of government. Because this request that we made is not an unusual request. We've been making such requests during the audit of GOTG, specifically on the EPICO database. And the response that we've been receiving is very swift and very cooperative for that matter. And we must commend the Accountant General for their cooperation in that regard. However, with regards to GRA, as stated in their management response, they have said that NAO do not have that mandate because they have pointed out to the relevant section of the Constitution and the NAO Act. And they have also given clarified the reasons as to why they should not provide some of this information to the audit team. For now, I just mentioned this. Thank you.
So Jerry is trying to bang around a consumer provision to defend its position. Is that your case?
No, not entirely.
Not entirely.
No, not entirely. Because what we think was that the request from the National Audit was excessive. And they did not provide any justification to request for the entire database, because the audit in question was on 2022 and 2023, and our database contained information beyond those periods. So all we were asked to provide based on what they said they needed. We did.
When you say was excessive, meaning what they were requesting was outside the scope of what they were auditing?
Yeah, what they request is far above, beyond the scope of the audit.
National audit. Sorry, allow audit to clear that. Yes, audit?
Yes, what he is saying, equally, Accountant General also is the same request that we normally obtain from them. And this is very simple. Normally what we do is just send them an email. Madam AG, can you provide us this, the copy of the data EPICO? And within 2 days, they will respond. So, and GRA, in this regard, we have engaged them severally. We had a meeting with the Commissioner General in which he gave us assurance that they are going to cooperate. So when we went on the ground, the audit team went on the ground, they were informed that the ASICUDA, for that matter, the size of the database was 2 terabytes, more than 2 terabytes. The audit team wanted to confirm, and they are not given access to confirm that this is indeed 2 terabytes. So there were a lot of exchange, email exchange and letters, and eventually they said they cannot provide us with this access. So that's why I raised this issue. If there are inadequacies in the existing laws preventing NAO to access such information, I think it is up to the committee to mention that or say that NAO, you don't have those you don't have that mandate, and GRA is right in that regard. But if that is not the case, I think this should be serious steps should be taken so that it will act as a deterrent, not only for GRA, but any other system that is operated by government. Thank you.
I think earlier on he indicated not entirely they were relying on the console provision, but what you were requesting was in excess. So I want you to clear that position, that what you were requesting was in excess. You were requesting for things outside the scope of what you were audited. So can you clear that?
No, this is not excessive.
Okay.
Information that we are requesting. This is just a copy of the database. NRA national, that is the GAMTAX net, the Asikuda. Those are the main system. The one of the system is recording the custom and exercise. The other one is recording the information for domestic taxes. And there was also an order that is mixed scan, because they are also having a function that they are playing in terms of the revenue collection by GRA. That is the mixed scan. So these are the database that we requested. So this is not unusual, like I said. We've been doing that for audit of government accounts, especially for the AGD, and we never had problem in that.
Okay, that's noted.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I think you are the one not on the oath.
Yes, please.
The clerk will be coming down to administer.
Yeah, I think he's here.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Please. Yeah.
Can go ahead.
I, Musa Sedikan,
I, Musa Sedikan,
do affirm that
do affirm that
I will speak the truth,
I will speak the truth,
whole truth,
the whole truth,
nothing but the
and nothing but the truth.
So help me
So help me God. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think the excessiveness of their request, as mentioned by the IT manager database, goes like this. What they are requesting for is like for us to give them our entire database. What that means is creating an instance of our database. It's like building as a CUDA in their own environment. You understand? Basically, that's what they are. They are not requesting for data. They're asking for a database. Database means you have the schema, the tables, and everything in it. So the security bit we are talking about here has to do with, in the table you have very sensitive data, taxpayer data. And we think, as far as we are concerned, when they need access, we give them access, unrestricted access to our systems. So they can interrogate the system in our own environment, rather than creating another environment for themselves. That's basically what we are asking for. What we are doing is, can you come to our environment? We give you access to our entire system. You can interrogate it, you can copy data anyhow you want to copy. You can copy it in any format you also want to copy it and take it back. That's exactly what we are saying. But what they are saying is, they want a copy of our database, not our data. Data is transactional. It is what the system produces. That is what is transactional. That is what is data. But when you say a database, that is something else. That's our position. Thank you.
But you were not denying them having access to your data?
No, we have never denied them.
Okay.
We have never denied them access to us.
Before I come to our technician, let me hear from Jare. Oh, account any order.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for giving me the floor. I'm pleased to inform you that I think when it comes to the 2024, I think we are able to resolve this matter amicably. Yes, of course, the issue of the sensitive data, I think that doesn't hold water, because as far as NO is concerned, we can have access to any information, because we are not limited in terms of that area, unless maybe if it is enshrined in the Constitution or another legislation. But of course, why I'm saying that this matter was resolved, because I mean it's about access, and we had access, and we are able to do our work as far as 2024 was concerned. Currently, I think we are satisfied with that. But of course, where we need arise, I mean, to copy, I mean, we have to be, I mean, given that access. Thank you.
Okay, can I? Let me draw this to say that according to them, they did not deny you having access to their environment, but rather for you to create your own environment. That's what they are not ready to do so. But you are at liberty to have access to their environment. Is that your position?
So yes.
Yes. Honorable?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think it's a very sensitive case. The only thing we can do is to take comfort in the last submission by NAO that the issue have been resolved. To Babukar, the point you push in Parliament, it will be difficult to take because what we don't want is issues degenerating between two sensitive institutions of the state to a level that it becomes confrontational. And that's what we are seeing in this, personally. Both of you are relying on the law. We would not be in a position to interpret that law, but we can make sense out of it. You said access. They said they didn't deny you access. The auditors have the right to access anything. Now, the bone of contention is on the station. Do you have access to it within the premises of GRA, or do you take the entire database to migrate it? Let me learn. So there is a determination that we wouldn't get into. But one thing you will not allow is any entity restricting GRA to have access to their books. No entity have that mandate. So what I'm saying, okay, no entity have the mandate to deny NAO access to their records. You must have access to those records, unrestricted access. Now the question is, GRA is claiming you wanted to kind of a transfer of the entire database. And they flag two things: data integrity, one, and also issues of confidentiality. Do we make a determination to that? No. So, Chair, what I would urge is this. If at all what NAO is reporting as the current position, that the two of them have resolved it, I would encourage you further go to the drawing board. Define the scope of your work. Every request must have a trigger. If your trigger is justified, no one should give you restrictions. But let's not allow anything to go to levels of what confrontational. If at all it was reported that GRA denied NAO access to their books, that would have been something else. But now all of you are confirming that access was given. So now what GRA is saying is you wanted to have their entire database, both the Asikuda wall and the GAM taxnet. Have all of it transferred, be stationed somewhere else. That is something else. And I'm not in a position to make a determination to that. But what I would urge is, and what is clear in the law is, no one can deny you access. And if at all on the table you've resolved it, I would encourage you to do that. And that should not compromise your position in any way. It should not. It should not be resolved from an angle of compromising your position. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Yes, Chair. I think if the issue is resolved, then well and good. But I think we must also remind every institution that information or data requested by the NAO or the National Assembly cannot be restrictive. How we want to use the data we have, where we intend to use it also, they cannot be restricted. Now, you know, in this domain, particular domain, is a little bit different from where you have your accounting books and stuff. Because if you want to go in-depth analysis of a forensic database, there are a lot of things that will be required. Now, the issue would be your own environment and their environment, because I believe they must have built their own environment. And perhaps some of the things that we would like to do, they may not be able to do on the environment. And that's why sometimes when you're doing this IS audit, you may request for the database where you run it on your own environment. And sometimes what happens is you get a clone of your database and give them, which is like a copy of it. Now, the data integrity would not matter here, because at the end of the day, whatever they do with that database is not coming back to your live environment. So data integrity cannot be an issue in that particular instance. So now that the issue is resolved, but we must also remind everyone, the data kept by AGD is far more than any other institution here, probably maybe central bank or other finance institutions. So there is no issue with that. Now, today, if the National Assembly is to write to the GRA to provide them with all the information of all the customers, details, transactions for the past 5-10 years, they are obliged to provide. So that again is the physical copy that you have. So the electronic copy is the same. It just mimics the physical thing. So for me, asking for a copy of database is not really too far. It's not really. However, if you're gonna ask us to provide certain things, you must be able to tell me exactly what do you need this for. So I think the explanation or working together, for them to actually communicate clearly, I think that could also help to resolve issues. But now that the issue is resolved, so I think we can move on. Yeah.
Honorable, I must clarify that even though this issue was not mentioned, it still remains unresolved. Yeah, because we haven't. This was in our prior issue. It was not particularly reported specifically reported in 2024, but I think more engagement need to be done in order for this to be avoided in future.
Yes, thank you. I think, Chair, then that is fine. Maybe if they're going to look at 2025 or 2026 again, I think they just need to, talk to each other. Yeah, and just because this is the same government actually. So it's not like somebody's trying to undermine what the other is trying to do, but the only thing they're trying to do is to help you to be better in what you are trying to do. That's it.
Thank you very much. GRA?
Yes.
Okay. No, before audit, GRA, then audit.
Yes. I know as far as the authority is concerned, GRA, we know we have never engaged in limiting auditor scope. If you look at what this database is talking about, they are trying to say that maybe we have limited their scope. We did not limit their scope. GRA will not do that. We respect audit views. We are auditors. Myself, I'm an auditor. I do not do that because I know it goes with consequences. You cannot limit auditor scope. Maybe it means that you are trying to deny them having more information from what they are doing. But that is not the way of the authority. I just want to make the record straight here. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Chair. Okay.
Sorry.
Yes. Thank you very much. I think the views are very clear. Our position is also, I think, very clear. Of course, it has been said that having a database in another environment is not an issue. Sensitive data. Basically, if you move a whole database, you are moving the database with passwords, right? Because we are making a copy of a database, meaning the schema, the tables, and everything. And in there, we are not only talking about transaction data. We don't have an issue for any A to access transaction data. This is why we gave them access. We created a profile for them to say, okay, this is the access you have. You can access any table. You can access anyhow. You can query anything. You can copy anything in whatever format you want. But now the issue is if you copy the database, you are copying the database together with sensitive data like passwords. And those passwords are not only passwords for GRA staff. They are also passwords for clearing agents. They are passwords for banks and other users. You are copying everything together and then transferring them. Sorry, I am still on my feet. I don't know. Yes, thank you. You are copying everything together. So that is our issue. We think that by interrogating our database in our own environment would give them, more relevance. The queries they are going to do. It will be more relevant for you to do your query in our own environment rather than creating your own environment and also, trying to do queries in your own environment. So that's basically our issue. And I don't think we've denied them also showing them the capacity, like the database capacity that is there, which is about 3 terabytes. Yeah, the footprint is about 2 TB, yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, even though anyway is saying the issue is resolved, but most of the last submission from GRA, the gentleman there, that is not helping. Okay, it's not helping. Okay, you don't resolve issues on restrictions. And even a layman like myself in the field of IT rather, I know that data can be transferred from one system to the other without compromising passwords. For example, I can customize the data, change the file format, export it, and then have it. I'm not compromising anything. No, what we are saying here is, allow me, what we are saying here is the auditors have powers based on the Constitution. The Assembly have given consideration to your responses. The auditors currently, the leadership have given you the opportunity to negotiate, and they said it is resolved. So it is in the interest of GRA to ensure that whatever data they are requesting for, you give them in a format that doesn't limit the scope of their audit. Okay? And you do not restrict them to an environment to say you can sit there, you do it. No. It doesn't work that way. I am equally an auditor. Okay? I am equally an auditor, which I have done for more than 10 years. So you don't restrict auditors to say you have to sit here and do it. No, there are certain analyses. In fact, you will not do it at home. You will not do it in the office. You do it at home. So what we are trying to say here is, it is important that the two institutions sit, which you have initiated. Perhaps there is a miscommunication from the technical points of view as to what information was needed and in what nature, because that needs to be defined. Okay? To ensure that the fears about data integrity, security, and confidentiality are put aside. But to say you will restrict auditors as to where they can do their work, that's for them. And that submission doesn't help the matters. Okay? Please. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's just a simple matter. I think what they need to hear is this: if the NAO requests for database of any system here in the government, they are obliged to be given to them to do their work. Where they're going to do their work in their own environment, whatever environment, must not be determined by anybody else. I think that needs to be very clear. Thank you.
NAO?
Thank you very much.
Sorry, before NAO, a member wants to come in?
Yes, thank you very much, for the opportunity. I think basically, this is a simple thing. It's one government, and the NAO is mandated to audit. They mention it here that the Accountant General Office, whenever they request it, it is provided. So I don't see any reason why such is not happening with GRA. So we just have to trust each other and be collaborative in terms of the running of the system. So for that being the case, I think we just need to build that trust and understand, because NAO, they have a mandate. And I think there is nothing that should be secretive here or whatever, because they have to do their work depending on what they want to know. So in various institutions. So I think we don't need such thing, push and pull, because at the end of the day, they are the only institution that is mandated to audit government institutions or departments. So I think this is my take. So let's just try to be collaborative as far as our works are concerned. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much once again, Honorable Chair. Thank you very much, Honorable members, for your submissions. I think that that's very important. I mean, trust and also about engagement. And just to clarify again, I mean, as far as 2024 is concerned, the leadership is satisfied because AG was part of the engagement, the last engagement that we had as, for the audit of the 2024. And as far as he is concerned with the team, of course, unfortunately, I was supposed to join the team, but I had another engagement, so I couldn't attend that meeting. But as far as he's concerned, he was able to, I mean, get the required information that he needed to finalize the 2024 audit. That's why I'm saying that, I mean, this issue has been resolved. So, I mean, going forward is about engagement. We'll also test the waters maybe when it comes to 2025. So as far as 2024 is concerned, we are satisfied.
Thank you very much. Satisfied about the understanding of GRA should align with what we want to see in future, that is not a replica in 2025. The position of GRA was that NAO was acting excessively in demanding access to information, but according to NAO, they were not in excessive. Whatever they were asking for is within the scope of their audit. And by that, as alluded by members, no institution should deny NAO that access to any information they want in whatever environment that they are comfortable of doing their work. What is important is the trust. Yes, you are protecting the integrity of your system as well as NAO is also protecting the integrity of the institution. So the two protections should not compromise each other. What is important, allow both sides need to understand each other and be ready to cooperate and understand each other to do the work. That's what is important. You are both there, you are both government institutions. You are protecting the government and they are also protecting the government. So your system's integrity is important to you, as well as the integrity of the institution, which is very paramount as far as the governance is concerned. Whatever you are doing at the end must be audited by the Auditor General. So your work can have credit or will not have credit when it fails to get that assertion from the national audit. I think let's have that understanding. It's not a witch hunt. It's trying to guide us. It's trying to help us. Whatever we are doing, if it is one, we try to redouble our effort, make it 1,000 so that the credit can go to all of us. Let's see NAO as a partner to all institutions, even National Assembly. We'll be also laying our report. The way we are interrogating you, NAO and some members also will be interrogating us. We'll have questions to answer, so we don't see them as a witch hunt exercise. Let's have that understanding. And we look forward to 2025 as it is resolved 2024, so that it does not resurface in 2025. On that note, we proceed. Consider that the matter is resolved. That ends for GRA for this particular year, 2023. We can now move to where we wanted to start, that was fisheries. I'm not sure whether the PS here. He used to be present all these days, but today I don't know.
Mr. Chair, DPS is around.
He's around?
Yeah, he's sitting in for the PS.
Oh, DPS, not DPS.
But
Page 102. DPS around?
yes, I'm here.
Okay,
But
let's proceed.
Mr. Chair, I have not taken the oath.
Oh, oath?
Yes.
Okay.
hereby affirm that I'll speak the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me Allah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We can now proceed on the members, page 102. The issue is inconsistency in rate application for 10% catch calculation. The catch calculation is indicated in the table, and the audit recommended that the department, the fisheries, give an explanation on how the catches of the rates came about and provide an official document leading to that decision. Management response.
Hello, sir. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. During the 2022 audit, the 10% of catch was calculated on the total catch by species and the equivalents paid by the vessel owner through the local agent. However, in 2023, the calculations were on the total catch, which is then landed to government. The landed fish is sold and is sold out to individuals through the distribution list from the Ministry of Fisheries with the rate 40 kilograms. $40 is per kilogram for demersal species, $25 is per kilogram for pelagic species, and $10 per kilogram for Sardinella species.
Auditor's comment. Management response is noted, however, it does not address the finding.
Your response is noted, did not address the finding. Can you address it now?
Sorry, can he be specific? What? Can you explain for that I understand?
Any
Yes.
clarification?
In the table, we highlighted that there were some, the rates were different in 2022 and 2023 for some of the species. So this was not provided to us. We couldn't see any sort of document that shows that this was resolved. That's why we're saying this is still outstanding.
Mr. Chair, just to draw you back to what you were told recently by the PS, we are currently working on developing the 10% policy, which is going to highlight everything that is stated. And then I think PS even mentioned that on the 30th April 2026, we are going to share the document.
30th?
30th April 2026, we'll share the document. The process is on.
Yes, Honorable.
Can they just confirm whether it's the same document that they said was going to be regularized from January, 1st January 2025?
That's in 2022 report, Honorable?
Sorry.
In 2022,
yes,
they stated that the date that the situation will be regularized about the approved tariff would be 1st of January 2025, and now they are saying April. You are saying April 2026. Yes. Can they confirm whether it's the same thing? Because we cannot be given the same excuse year in, year out.
Mr. Chair. Okay, it's the same document because the process was on, and then we needed to consult also with stakeholders. So it's going to be shared on the 30th April.
Now, it's noted that the issue is recurring. Henceforth, the decision that we are taking in the previous reports will align it with this one as well. You can consult your PS. He was here and then he knew about the decision that was taken earlier on. Okay? Honorable members, is a recurring issue. So the decision that we took on the previous one will be aligned with this one, right? They will align with the previous decision. Hmm? Can we go to 104? Is that also under fisheries? Okay. Outstanding fines imposed on arrested vessels. The amount involved is about 50,400,000, and on that the audit recommended that management provide evidence of payment for above mentioned vessels. Management.
Hello? Mr. Chair, can I go?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Attach receipts and receipt numbers on completion of payments of fines imposed on arrested vessels. Majelak receipt number 25CR2 400007 of 2 million Gambian dollars is 25CR2 400074 of $300,000 is, and 20250121713465371 of $850,000 is, amounting to $3,150,000 is. Also, Islam received Abu Islam receipt numbers. Mr. Chair, can I continue reading the receipt numbers? Or yeah, okay. 25CR2 30000227 of $750,000 is. 25CR2 for 0000200 of 540,000 Gambian dollars is. 20250,127 TT/25027/23V7N of 500,000 Gambian dollars is, and 20250122910265343 of 410,000 Gambian dollars, amounting to a total of 2,200,000 Gambian dollars is. Subprint receipt numbers 25CR230000227 of 750,000 Gambian dollars, 25CR24 000060 of 300,000 Gambian dollars, and 25CR24 000143 of 200,000 Gambian dollars, 25CR24 00172 of 250,000 Gambian dollars, amounting to 1,500,000 Gambian dollars. Majilak 6. According to records, the fine imposed on the vessel was 1 million Gambian dollars and not 1.5 million Gambian dollars.
Auditor's comment. There remains an outstanding fine of 16,950,000. Details are shown in Appendix M.
Mr. Chair, receipts are available for verification pertaining to that issue. Yeah. We are ready to prepare, to provide receipts for verification pertaining to the amounts mentioned.
Okay, we will. Yeah, yes, yes. It's possible tomorrow, yes. Tomorrow, inshallah. Okay, why not you give us 2 days time? Because we need to check. No. I was thinking,
No, it's,
no. You have to help us.
it depends on. It depends on how we say. If you say it's readily available, even tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes. Fine. If you are not okay, what I'm saying is that if you say it's readily available,
give us Wednesday.
okay,
Wednesday.
You are now at labor. We
Wednesday.
give you up to 25th.
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 Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Can we go to page 106? That's still fisheries. Failure to charge vessels for illegal fishing activities. The vessels are indicated in the table, and the amount involved 8,250,000. And the audit recommended that Ministry of Fisheries provide an explanation for not charging these arrested vessels. Management response.
Okay, thank you, Chair. The vessels in the table above were monitored from the FMC, that is the Fisheries Monitoring Center, in 2024 and not 2023. The affected owners, through their agents, were written to for acceptance of the infringements or otherwise. A follow-up letter will be sent. Okay. A follow-up was sent a week of the 15th September 2025 for their confirmation or otherwise within 7 working days. For the week of 22nd September 2025, failure of responding to the matter will be failure for non-response will be forwarded to the Minister of Justice for further necessary action. With regards to the letter reference BFY 59/83/01, folio number 112, dated 24th October 2023, concerning Fenghai 03 and 10, payments were done with receipt number 25CR24000016 of 3,250,000 Gambian dollars and 1,750,000 Gambian dollars respectively. On the release of the vessel Hai-Hao 1, a stakeholder meeting was held between the Department of Fisheries and the Gambian Navy to review the issue of the 20% Gambian crew, which was the basis for arrest of the vessel. The meeting recommended the release of the said vessel. Please note that the necessary documents are available for verification. Action to be taken. Follow-up letter to be sent to the affected companies through their agents. Consultative committee meeting to be held upon receiving an meeting confirmation, administrative proceedings, forwarding the matter to the Ministry of Justice for further necessary action if no admitting confirmation received, judicial proceedings.
Auditor's comment. The audit has reconfirmed in consultation with the personnel from the Department of Fisheries that the reference vessels were arrested in 2023, not 2024 as initially stated. Consequently, the discrepancy persists and the finding remain unresolved.
Okay, pertaining to the issue raised, a follow-up consultative committee on arrested fishing vessel was held, and then fines were imposed on the vessels concerned. Some of them already started paying. Yes, one of them, Gala Pagus, already paid fully, and Abu El Gem El, some of their names, yes, Abu Al Gel El did paid half. Westerlo AV Hono also paid half. Or the others were being pursued to complete their payments. That is where we are currently. Okay. Okay. It's going to be pursued. We will pursue them to pay, and then if it persists, maybe we are going to send it to the Minister of Justice for further action.
When was your last engagement with them?
Maybe I will have to consult and to get back to you.
Okay, give us comprehensive update.
Yeah, yes, on that. Yes.
Yes, Honorable.
Can he also confirm whether they are still fishing?
Yeah, that's what he say. No.
No.
Okay.
No. At present, administrative level, what we have already decided is to stop vessels for years. Vessels that are already in areas and are not issued. Because I was the ones that even prepared the letter and sent to the department offices to explain to them that any vessel that is involved in infringements should not be issued a license. They should not even forward it to the ministry for license to be issued. So that is where we are currently.
Okay.
The auditors are saying 2023, arrested in 2023, and they are saying 2024. Did you correct the date?
I think that's the reference we are arrested in 20, not 2024, as initially stated.
Whether they accepted that it's 2023, not 2024.
Who?
We will have.
Okay.
Yes.
So the update on that also be provided on or before 25th.
I just want to. Yes. Is it DPS? Huh?
Yes.
Yes. I've seen fishing within prohibited zone of industrial place. Is it that when you are giving these people the license, they don't know where to fish? This is why they go to prohibited areas. I think this has to be clear, and also if there is any security whatever, there should be some kind of security wherein patrol, so that at least you can restrict them around those areas. Because it's like looking at the number of vessels. Almost the offense they made is all about going to places that they shouldn't go.
Okay, thank you very much. In their license, it is clearly stated. Everything is clearly stated. Most of the time, they are the ones who usually do that, violate the rules that are stipulated. But the rules are clear. They know where they should fish.
So So now, if you happen to commit such offenses once, twice, you don't have any punishment in terms of, because these fines here, if you do it once, 750,000, whether that will deter them from doing it again.
Is that press release? You get a cake, sir?
Yeah, we get the question. The $750,000 is the minimum charge that we usually levy. There is a committee that that is set up with different stakeholders in government that usually look at some of the offenses. So this 750,000 is the minimum charge. Some vessels are charged 5 million, $10 million. And the Navy also work with the Navy pertaining to surveillance. Yes, the Navy used to assist tremendous pertaining to surveillance.
Charge, how is the charge determined? Because for a repeated offender being charged 1.5 and for first time offender being charged 5 million, how is it determined? Is there a guideline?
Charges are there are charges for repeated offenders also. If you are caught charged, if you are caught in a similar case, for example, fishing in the wrong zone twice, you are charged the maximum. You are usually charged the maximum.
What I'm saying is that it says repeated offender here, and he is charged 1.5 million, and a first time offender charged 5 million. How is it determined? That is what I'm asking.
Okay. There's the difference between their flagging, the flagging regime. Foreign vessels are usually charged 5 million, but Gambian vessels are charged 750 less, yes, and then if they're double, it's 1.5. That's what happened.
Okay, can we proceed? Page 109. That has to do with unresolved enforcement of levy fines, and indicated in the table, the amount involved is 53 million. Auditor recommended that the ministry give an update on the status of above mentioned vessels. Managing response.
Mr. Chair, all affected vessel owners through their agents were written to and have received their letters of fines. Some payments were affected as indicated in the table above. Vessel owners through their agents will be, okay.
Yes, read it.
Vessel owners through their agents will be invited for a meeting next week. That was in 22nd September 2025. Continuous denial of affected vessels will with renewal of licensing.
Okay.
Auditor's comment. No supporting evidence was provided as indicated in the management response. Therefore, the finding remains unresolved.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Chair, we will try to provide the supported evidence pertaining to.
Did you do that meeting with the
Yes.
agents?
Yes, it was done.
As proposed?
Yes.
And the situation is regularized by 31st December as proposed?
Yes, the committee sat and then the meeting was held. But still, as I stated earlier on, some paid, some are not paying. What we decide
So
now.
not yet completely regularized.
Yeah. So now what we're deciding now is for some of them to be sent back to be sent to Ministry of Justice for further action.
Yeah, can you give a report on that as well, the update? Huh? Right? 25th. Underutilized budget, I think that's for finance. So thank you, Fisheries.
Okay, thank you very much.
Finance, you're here. Underutilized budget indicated in the table and audit recommended that ministry strengthening its planning and execution processes to ensure that budgeted funds are efficiently and effectively utilized in line with approved priorities. And additionally, periodic budget performance review be conducted to track and address underutilized issues promptly. Management response.
Thank you, Chairman. The budget lines mentioned were disfavored in the prioritization of limited cash allocations from the Minister of Finance.
Go further.
These issues have already been addressed in subsequent annual budget formulation by eliminating all redundant budget lines.
Audit.
Auditor's comment. This would be verified in our subsequent audits.
Already been addressed to be verified precisely 2025, right?
Yes, please. And 2025, during 2025 audit, we will confirm whether this has been addressed. 2025, during this audit this year, shall.
Yes, Honorable.
Yes, it will be in 2025, but because 2024 also has been concluded, so we can only confirm this in the 2025 audit. Yes.
Page 113, lack of alignment between National Development Plan and medium-term expenditure framework. This was noted by the audit and does recommend that enforce a result-based budgeting approach by linking the MTEFF allocation directly to NDP objectives with clear performance indicators, as well as train policymakers and budget officers on aligning long-term planning with the medium-term fiscal framework. Management response.
Management noted with concern and strongly agreed that NDP and MTFF are not aligned with current support of our development partners like IMF, US Treasury, and EU to activate and strengthening PBB implementation will avert this mislink between NDP and MTFF. Current reforms of creating strong institutional collaboration of stakeholders, especially between the Directorate of Budget and Directorate of Development Planning, will help bridge the gap between policy, plans, and budget.
Auditor's comment. Management comment is noted. This finding remains unresolved.
Thank you. Because if you look at this is a medium-term issue. So currently, I think we were even in Kenya at some point in time to try to see.
Can you close to the?
It's a medium-term issue, so it cannot be resolved. Let's say 2023, 2024. So currently, we've even been to Kenya to try to have a study tour on this PBB between together with even attending National Assembly members. So we are looking forward into the medium term.
Any?
As confirmed by the DPS, we cannot confirm this in our next audit because a precise date has not been indicated in the management response. So this will keep on recording even in 2025 audit. So maybe 2027 they should be able to address this. But as far as the issue is concerned, this will will recur in 2024, 2025, and even 2026.
Honorable members, it's a long, medium-term issue, and the ministry is working on it to resolve. However, that may not come up to 2025 precisely, somewhere around 2027. That's the target. So in our report, we'll see what recommendation we can adduce to that. We've had their side of the story, and the company also will make a recommendation how to speed up that exercise. All right? Thank you. 115 has to do with non-compliance with program budgeting mandate. On that finding, the audit recommended the ministry issue a clarifying directive to all MDS requiring them to supplement their current submissions with a mandatory program crosswalk, and that the circular for the next budget cycle must be unequivocal, making program budgeting a non-negotiable primary method, and that the Ministry of Finance should implement a compulsory training program for all MDS budget officers and central budget unit staff on program budgeting, concept development of the performance indicators, and then cost benefit analysis, as well as the budget directorate also must establish a dedicated team to review, challenge, and approve agency submission based on quality of the programs and justification and performance framework. Then the management response.
Management noted its concerns and agreed with points raised in area of program budgeting. Efforts have been made to build capacities of our young, inexperienced planning cadre to improve the planning and budgeting with support of our development partners.
Audit.
Auditor's comment. Management response is noted. The finding remains unresolved.
Chairman, this is linked to the initial initial query, the first query.
Okay.
So we are looking at both of them in the medium term.
Okay. Linked to the previous query. Can we move to page 118? Okay. And that one is OP. I'm not sure whether they are here. They are not around, then the accountant general should step in. Yes? The next query. Yes, Honorable?
Sure, just to note that I think there was a pilot made in the 2025 budget. Is it with 15 MDAs with regards to PBB?
Okay, good afternoon. Initially, when we started this PBB, there were 4 ministries that were pilot. That is Ministry of Gender, Education, Health, and then Public Service. So as we are going on, we are trying to roll this over to the entire government. So that's, as we speak right now, this 2026 budget, all the MDAs are asked to input their PBBs in the system. Then based on those PBBs, then the costing is also done based on the programs and then the activities that they have for their Bs.
But for the 2025 budget, how many MDAs are covered?
For 2025 budget, I think all the MDAs do their PBB in the system for 2025.
I'm not sure of the exact number, but I'll be right to say it's not all of them. The pilot is based on...
The number is 15. Right. But yes, 15 were pilot, but others also imported their PBBs in the system.
saw it's 15. So what I want to suggest here is to encourage the NAO in the audit of 2025 to look at how those 15 are faring. That will also help us to know on the job where the challenges might be. Then it will also give us an opportunity to improve the system before we really roll it out to the entire MDAs.
Thank you, Honorable. We will do as you requested. Thank you.
Okay. We move to page 118, and that's for OP. Disbursement of 32,500,000 to suppliers of the OP without supporting procurement documentation. The different references are indicated in the table, amounting to 32,500,000. And on that, the audit recommended that management to present the procurement documents to the audit team for review. Management.
Hello. I want to request that shift this to maybe afternoon, to the afternoon session, to allow OP to come and answer to these queries.
Noted. Then can we proceed to 121? Well, that is for either CBG or finance. Non-disclosure on payment of the outstanding balance on the sales of Mega Bank. Finance will take it.
For CBG.
CBG has not been coming, and we cannot guarantee that they'll come today.
Honorable Chair?
Yes.
This would be for AGD, not CBG, because it's about disclosure.
It's for?
It's for AGD, not
AGD.
CBG. Yes, please.
Yeah, when we were listing the institutions, we indicated CBG, and AGD was the one recommending it for CBG. So we proceed.
No, allow AGD.
Yeah, that's why we proceed. Then AGD will handle it. So the issue is on non-disclosure on payment of the outstanding balance on the sales of Mega Bank. The outstanding amount involved 24,442,558.89, and on that the audit recommended that management ensure that the balance is disclosed accordingly and evidence of disclosure provided to the audit for confirmation. AGD?
Our response to this query was the amount received into our TMA was the payment made by KM Holding, a payment of 896,805,125.96. The additional amount of 24,442,358.89 paid on 31st August 2023 was not disclosed in the financial statement, as this amount was not paid into our account.
Audit?
Auditor's comment. Further confirmation revealed that Mega Ban was sold for 921,247,484. However, only 896,805,125 was receipted through the Treasury main account and disclosed in the financial statements. The remaining balance of 24,442,358 was receipted into the Central Bank of the Gambia, account number 12409-0001, designated for investment in Keystone Bank. This amount was neither routed through the Consolidated Revenue Fund / Treasury main account nor disclosed in the financial statements. Subsequently, it was confirmed that the $23,031,187 is of the $24,442,358 was disbursed by the central bank to guarantee trust bank account without passing through the CRF or TMA. As a result, this discrepancy remains unresolved.
AGD.
Mr. Chair, as at the time of finalizing the audit, then we could only report on to the extent of the amount that was received. Of course, I do acknowledge the fact that where if it had been confirmed that this is part of the consideration, we could have disclosed this for information purposes. But I personally handled this, and we were not able to confirm what this amount actually entailed as at the time of concluding the audit. However, subsequently, I know the central bank provided additional information as part of the 2024 audit, and I believe they've been able to provide information on this. Unfortunately, this was for disclosure purposes, and the year under review is 2023. So as such, we were unable to disclose it because we were unable to confirm what the difference actually entailed. But what we want to confirm is that we received this much, and that much we accounted for. The disclosure we did not disclose because we had not gotten insight into what that amount entailed.
Audit?
Yes, as far as the audit is concerned, the position remains unresolved. Even though there were information provided in the 2024, but this was related to 2023. So it's a separate engagement.
AG?
Unfortunately, we were not part of the sale process, and we were not privy to this information. And like I said, as at the time of finalizing the audit, we couldn't disclose because we had no insight into this. Of course, we engaged the bank as at then when we got this, or when we received this query, but as at the time of finalizing the audit, we were unable to obtain the information from the bank as it relates to this. So also, we were unable to obtain this from finance, and we were not part of the, we weren't a party to this information or the process of the disposal of the bank.
Finance, have you obtained any information from the bank?
Anyway, I don't have that information with me here now, as I confirm.
Okay. Yeah. Then the onus lies on you to get that information, and we'll give you a timeline to do so. Honorable member? Yes. Yes, Honorable.
Yes, I want the auditors to confirm that they actually obtain information from the central bank as it relates to this during the course of the 2024 audit, because I facilitated and the auditors and the bank provided. One thing is for it not to be disclosed, which of course is a sunk transaction as far as disclosure is concerned for 2023, but information was subsequently provided by the bank. I'm not sure whether that suffices, or if you need any other information, then we can.
Well, this is relating to disclosure. So it is if it is for 2023, it has to be disclosed in 2023 and not 2024. Essentially, that's what we are trying to say. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I think she she comfortably, or how do I say it, successfully asked my question. Because AGD are saying they were not part of the transaction and they were not aware of the 24 million, which means effectively for them, recording the 896 would have completed everything. You know, and as at the time of completing the audit, they tried to get information from CBG, which they did not have. And the position of the auditors is the transaction have occurred and there's an extra layer that was not disclosed in the financial statements, which is very right. Now, the issue would be the subsequent information that was provided in 2024. Although the provision in 2024 would not make up for the non-disclosure in 2023, but as a committee now, our interest will be to know whether that information was sufficient so that we would be in a better position to make some informed decisions.
Yes, what we are saying here, you know, we did mention that the 23 out of the 24 million, 2023 was moved to an account. And as we can see in the description of that account in Keystone Bank, this is was paid to DT Associate Financial Advisor, to CBG, IC double success fee on the sale of the mega bank. So it's like a fee payment. What we do know is DT Associate was the one, they are the consultant for the disposal of this bank. So the fee was paid to DT, we can confirm that. However, the disclosure, why didn't it went through the normal banking process, that is the main account, the CF and the Treasury main account? That was the question.
Was there any contract to that effect between DT Associates and Minister of Finance or Central Bank for the sales of Mega Bank?
This was entirely handled by Central Bank, and there were some file provided to the audit team. We have seen lots of documentations provided. So it's we have seen a contract from between CBG and then DT Associate, because it was not only DT that was identified, but at the end of the day, they become the most responsive in terms of handling this.
The main reason I'm asking about contracts, because the next question would have been, if at all there was a contract, does it include the settlement of fees if at all the sales was successfully conducted? And if so, at the end of the day, did you look at that clause on regarding the commissions, whether it tallies with the payment that was done? Then from there, we can look at the nature of the payments.
And I will, this file that I'm saying, this was provided in 2024. So we have to confirm in our file whether this contract indeed was part of the submission, and the amount that was stated in the contract agrees with this amount. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Babukar. I think, Honorable Chair, at this juncture it will be also important for CBG to come, because if you look at the auditor's further comments, their last paragraph speaks to a payment that was done by CBG to a GT bank account, which now the auditors are confirming that our account belongs to Deloitte. Am I correct in that?
I'm just seeing, I'm not sure whether the account belongs to DT. What I can say, this was monies paid to DT as per the narrative. So whether that account belongs to DT, I cannot confirm at this juncture.
So at face value, we can say the payment was done to DT.
That is correct.
And at face value, we can assume that the bank, the account at GT Bank was that of DT, subject to your verification.
That is
So
correct.
at this point,
Correct.
Honorable Chair, it will be well placed to have CBG to come and do that clarification. But that doesn't negate the fact that the disclosure should have been done in 2023. And by that also will encourage the Minister of Finance and Central Bank to make sufficient availability of documentation to AGD, because they can only post based on what they have. If they don't have the information and they do not have transactional knowledge of it, you cannot hold them for not posting it, and you cannot hold them accountable for not disclosing it. You know, so I think that have to go to CBG and the Minister of Finance. So when can we have CBG here?
For this consideration, I think they were informed that they should be part of the witnesses. Unfortunately, they've not been coming. And remind the secretary or clerk to remind them tomorrow, that's supposed to be the last day, they should endeavor to be here. Or otherwise, Minister of Finance to try to get update from them, latest 25th. Clarification on the matter, right?
No problem.
Okay. Uh, 123, I don't know which interior OP finance is indicated. All of you are involved, or so who will take finance? OP, do we have OP here? Not yet. So finance will step in. Unpresented procurement plan. That was noted by the auditors affecting Ministry of Interior and OP, and then the auditor recommended that Finance should be requesting ministries and departments for their approved procurement plan as a supporting document to their cash plan.
Chairman, I think it will be better for them to come and deal with it.
Well, the recommendation is saying that you should be requesting the plan from the ministries. What's your take on that? Their compliance is one thing, but you making the request is another thing. Can we hear the management response first? If there is any further update or question that you cannot take care, you can take note. But the recommendation was meant for you.
These were actually provided to the Minister of Finance, but due to frequent changes in procurement staff and poor filing, they could not be provided at the time of the audit to the auditor. BE08, the annual procurement plan, is not currently available for review despite the previous procurement officer on overseas studies indicated he had produced and provided such a plan to GPPA BE01.
Can we proceed on action to be taken?
Proper filing of procurement plans in subsequent years by the procurement officer, BE08, we wish to do further search of our files and, if need be, liaise with GPPA to check in their archives.
Do you have your procurement officer in attendance?
No.
Okay. Before I get to you again, NAO?
Auditor's comment. Management response is noted. However, the findings remain unresolved up to the time of finalizing this management letter.
After the finalization of the audit exercise, can you give us an update as what the ministry was doing regarding this query? Audit exercise.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
I said, after the finalization of the audit exercise, what was the ministry doing regarding this query?
Actually, this one I have no idea. I think so. I need to find out because I wasn't prepared for this other one.
The action that was supposed to be taken by the ministry, as simple as that.
This other one.
You cannot give update on what your ministry was doing.
Yeah.
That does sound funny. DPS. So who can give an update? Your procurement officer.
Yes, when we get back, I'll try to.
Okay,
Because
give us update on or before 25th.
25th, okay.
Huh? The update should entail how you are trying to regularize the situation, right? Huh? You see, when you are done with this audit queries, you responded to management audit queries, the onus lies on you to act immediately. But as I've been saying, it seems it's a trend. You only wait when the National Assembly report is out, and then that's the time you'll be acting. It's good that we are calling you. Instead of waiting for the report from the plenary, we try to do the regulation, but it should start as soon as you are done with the management letter, you responded to it, and you know what you should do, and then try to act on that. When you come to Parliament, just in fact, before even coming here, you can consult with the auditors. They will inform us that after the exercise, the issue has been resolved. It has been addressed. But you only receive it and find the book is only meant to be gathered endorsed. That's the trend. No, it's not going to be like that. Those days are gone now. Good. So can we, honorable members, any comment? The update will be provided on or before 25th, right? We go to 125. Let me look at the time. We have about 15 minutes to 2. I think we can do that.
Honorable Chair?
Yeah.
That is a rank medium. I'm not sure whether you can go through it.
That's your recommendation?
The focus was on those findings that were rated high.
That are high. And not the ones low or
Medium, exactly.
Okay. So, honorable members, it's rated medium? Yes, honorable?
So it's important for ministries to have fixed asset registers, and that was also mentioned.
These are listed ministries. It's not only one ministry. I'm sure they are here. If we don't caution them on medium, tomorrow it can be high.
Yeah, obvious. That's obvious, honorable.
Yeah.
Something can be rated medium this year. If it is not addressed, it becomes high.
Yeah.
So that's
Honorable.
right. Thank you.
Chair, we are duty bound to always agree with the auditor, and obey his instructions.
So,
but I humbly beg that we defer at this time, because if you look at the fixed asset registry, we should not consider it as a standalone. It is born out of an activity called procurement. And if you look at the activities of the government, over 50% of the budget or more goes into procurement. And today we should ask the auditors or the accountant general, what is the total asset value of our government? We don't know. And these are the simple steps that we need to reach to that level. So I think it will be important to know, even though it is rated as medium, to know what steps we are taking to reach that level. Because once that registry is not there, which means additional assets during the year would not be accounted for, and that exposes us, as you've indicated, exposes us to a lot of risks. So I would beg the auditors that maybe we can refine that submission and make an opening.
That is agreeable, honorable. Thank you.
Well, I think we are, because since we are clamoring for transitioning from cash to accurate basis, so there is need, to keep proper assets register.
we want to take it because following the development of an asset management policy for the government of the Gambia, the Accountant General's Department, as part of the policy's implementation, embarked on a nationwide stock taking and tagging exercise of all MDA assets in November. This was November 2024. Yes, November 2024. Consequently, all MDA assets have been tagged as part of the process, and data is currently undergoing validation for input into the IFMIS. This exercise supersedes the asset register previously maintained by the MDAs. The collated data is available for your review at AGD.
Auditor's comment, this would be verified in subsequent audits. Well, they said they haven't validated this information, the collation that they made. So I'm not sure. Maybe Madam Clara can make clarity on here.
What the exercise entailed was that we had a team that went countrywide and took stock of our government assets, and to some extent validation was done because we had the internal audit as part of the process. So here the validation in essence means that we are trying to place values on those assets, given that these are legacy assets for which the chunk of it, the data was incomplete. So we are working on kind of a policy to place or to value those legacy assets. But in addition to that, we also on an exercise to pick up the exercise from November 2024 after the legacy data. Here what we are looking at is to, we've operationalized the asset model under the IFMIS, and this is just, we're doing it for memorandum purposes, given that we wouldn't link this to the GL. So what we're doing is that we're capturing from November to date. We've already carried out the training with the MDAs, and we're capturing data on assets that were procured after the exercise, and that is just, it is with the view to ensure that we have the stock of government assets, even though we would not carry out the depreciation, given that we are on cash basis. So as we speak, the team is working with all sectors to capture this data so that at least we have, at the initial stage of the process, an up-to-date asset register for all MDAs. And so that's the reason we're saying this would supersede the initial asset data they had maintained, meaning that after we've concluded on placing asset values on the data we had collated, we are also going to upload this data on board the IFMIS, and this will kind of give us a holistic view of government assets as we progress and move towards ACOA. Thank you.
I believe this exercise should also be extended to overseas missions, the embassies where we have assets, and also government institutions. It's like this is forward-looking, but how about those assets that were purchased or acquired in the long time ago? Probably we need to look into that as well. Thank you.
Just point of clarification to say, I said there was an exercise and we took stock of government assets from time memorial up to 2024, around end 2024. That's what we're considering as the data. This is like legacy assets, and we're working on a policy so as to place values on this, because some of them you would realize that there's a big table and we would have to work on valuing it. So that one we are handling it, and that's the one we said we have the data in-house, which is a kind of a database of all those assets. So but I believe that your concern is answered by the data we've already collated, but of course we are yet to place values on it. Yeah. But before he proceed, also on the embassies are also part of this. We've equally collated the data for other embassies, and they're also part of the current implementation to maintain the memorandum data for assets.
Thank you very much, AGD, for that. Also, but it is important to still, emphasize the need for MDAs to keep proper registers for reconciliation, because there's, some of the assets are centrally controlled. Some you may not be, aware of, their acquisition. So we still allow them to, so that you can have that reconciliation in order to have a proper register. It is, of course, I'm aware of the draft, the assets management policy. I have a copy of that because I'm very interested in financial management. So, the age is smiling. I don't know what is it about, but I know what I'm saying. You still allow them to keep proper records for reconciliation, please. Don't just concentrate on the, because there are somehow, risk of mismatch or assets that may not be, in your records, and they are available at the MDAs.
Let me provide further clarification on this. When I say we are implementing, meaning that the team is supporting accountants at the level of the MDAs. What they do is they visit them. They've already provided training to them. So they will support them to have all their assets on board the IFMIS. Here, we're saying we are no longer using Excel because Excel is subject to, losing out on the data. But at least if this is part of the system, then there is a backup on this. So we would be assured that at any given point in time, we have up-to-date data on this. And as part of the policy implementation, we also have dedicated resources now and their task to ensure that MDAs update their assets on board this system, so that we have an up-to-date asset register. So be rest assured that we are equally concerned that we have, because assets form an integral part of government operations, and it takes a chunk of government resources.
Audit, can we be clear, the verification that you're supposed to do on, is it on the collated asset data indicated in the response? And if so, can we say precisely by 2025?
I think the date for regularization of this issue should come from the AGT. Unless and until that is confirmed, it will be difficult for us to confirm in 2025. As he earlier on mentioned, they are working on a policy, and the DAG confirmed that there is a draft policy. So we would need to see when that policy is finalized, and the draft, the asset management policy, yes, will determine what they're supposed to do and when are they going to finalize this issue of asset module. Thank you.
Let me provide further clarification on this. The asset policy is validated and approved. The policy I'm referring to is an internal policy that will guide the valuation of the legacy assets. That is the one that has not been done yet, or we're still working on it. So,
yeah, the question was whether we will be able to confirm, Honorable Chair, if you may. We want to confirm whether we'll be able to confirm in 2025.
Yeah, so it is indicated in your response that this will be verified in subsequent audit.
Yes.
Specifically, what actually do you say that you'll be verifying that in subsequent report?
That is the stock taking and tagging exercise of all MDAs.
Okay.
That was done.
So subsequent report, can we limit that to 2025?
Yes, if they provide the information, we should be able to confirm and report back to the committee accordingly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, before he comes in, can I just confirm that the data we have is up to end 2024? That's for the legacy assets. We have that data and the exercise was done. But in terms of the picking up from 2024 to date, the current we commenced this exercise this year, and currently the team is working with the MDA. So be rest assured that this is not something we can complete within within, you know, the audit period. So we are looking at here, we are up to the end of the year for this to be completed, but it might not have been completed before you conclude your audit. But the data is available for the legacy assets collation or tagging with the team.
Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. I must begin by commending AGD for that exercise, and at least now we are confident that government assets will be accounted for. However, I just do have some concerns, because as you place it, the legacy assets have been tagged and there was a stock taken. So now the question is, where did you begin, or how did you begin? Because when you talk about a stock taking exercise, which means you must have a reference. You must have an idea first of what is there. What is there? Then you go and verify to know what is present and what is not. Because without that, then it becomes a tagging. Then once you tag, I'm not assuming what you did. I'm just bringing both scenarios. Or maybe it will be appropriate for me to ask, before the stock taking, did you have any reference that gave you an idea of what you were looking for with regards to the legacy assets?
Most of the MDs actually kept assets in an Excel format. So that was actually the base data that was used. Where no base data existed, then the team, like I said, comprised of internal auditors, went and had to verify. And this was done in consultation with head of institutions. So that was our base.
Then obviously you must have some observations to share with your committee. Let's start with the MDAs that had a database. Did they have some observations with regards to discrepancies in the database they were keeping against the assets that were found on the ground?
Perhaps I might have to refer back to the report, but maybe I cannot be explicit as to whether such existed, but we actually had a report at the end of the exercise. Maybe we can check and see what the constraint that they encountered as to whether you have such scenarios during the audit exercise.
Yeah, Honorable Chair, the issue here is, since the AGD is going for a validation, so what I was going to propose is, during the validation, you agree. Yeah, because if I read your management response, the last paragraph is saying, consequently, all MDA assets have been tagged as part of this process, and the data is currently undergoing validation for inputs into the IFMIS. So I'm making a direct inference to your management response, because once the data is validated, then you put it into the IFMIS. That becomes a startup line.
Yeah.
So before that startup, the auditors in their further comments are saying they will verify that in future years. So whatever they are going to verify would depend on the input you gave them. So that's why it is important for us to know that that data which has been validated and been inputted into the IFMIS doesn't give way to discrepancies which were netted off before a start is done. So the nature of the report is very, very important to us, because with that we are going to advise the auditors to say the stock taking that is being done by AGD, in your subsequent audits, verify for us if at all there are discrepancies in it. The exercise is good with all certainty, but what happens in the MDAs you cannot tell. So now you have to tell us for certain what do we expect, and if the auditors are to come and verify that, What are they verifying? Are they endorsing something? Oh. Yes, you can come in.
Mr. Chair, can I come in? I've been asked to talk less today, and I'll try to do that. I want to say that your intervention or your question is important, and that is why we make it an important activity. But we must know that we have to start somewhere, and that somewhere is what we are doing right now. So basically, during the exercise, we depend on what MDAs give us because we do not know what was happening before. So in documenting the assets that are available, we rely on the MDAs to give us. And basically, once they gave us that information, then the staff would go for validation to confirm existence. But you cannot check the completeness of the assets, you know. But we depend on what they document in Excel form, and that is what we use to go for the physical verification. So you have other components that will be looked at. But like I said, we will have to start somewhere, and that somewhere is what here, where MDAs would give us what they have. But moving forward now, we're looking at what they gave us. We'll need to confirm or attach cost to it, which is another activity which has to do with validation of some of the legacy assets, as well as the cost that the MDAs are attaching to those assets. Now, you talk about other components which have to do with ownership, for example, verifying ownership, whether indeed these are government assets. You know, because when you talk about buildings, yes, we occupy this, but legally, do we own it? So those are all the components that we need to look at. But like I said, if I should relate it to your question to say whether we found out any anomaly or whether we have verified to see whether it is correct also, that is basically, we cannot put a hand to it to say, yes, it is all correct. But based on what you give us, that is what we take to work on. And moving forward, we want to be able to use that and improve on what we have right now, as well as to, like, when you go on the physical or further work, you will have to say maybe there's a possibility that they've not included this. Why this or why not that? So basically, that is where, or the intention. But we must recognize that when you start something, you must start somewhere. And with that somewhere, you work on improving. But at this point, we're like, we had done the physical, no, we started off with coming up with a policy, which have been concluded on, accepted, and distributed. Everybody knows. Then the next step is to place values on those. That one is another activity which, you know, we should have done some time ago, but because of financial constraint, we're still working to see how do we fund it or the modalities to take. But maybe I would stop there before I have time.
Chair, just okay.
Mr. Chair, I want to make place a caveat on my submission. You have this specific category of assets for which we are carrying out some further work, and these are the road, the bridges, and the buildings. When the team went to the ground, we realized that for some of the assets, the team did not secure the prerequisite technical know-how in terms of the valuation. And you can take stock of a building, but you know that's not their area. So we currently working with Ministry of Works in a bid this to outsource to a consultant, so that further work be carried out on that category of assets. That's the road, the building, and the land. Yeah, I just wanted to make that clarification. Yeah.
Clarification. Well, you know, earlier I made mention of aware of their draft asset management policy. But they said that it has been finalized. But as far as NAO is concerned, even the draft management policy, most of my colleagues are not even aware of it. Talk less of the final. Are you talking about verification at the MDAs of the assets that are there physically, or are we talking about validation of the policy, the asset management policy? Because as far as I have the copy before me, which is a draft, so we are not aware of any final asset management policy. So I don't know. I think that's.
I would have to check my records to see who actually represented you, because this is even approved at the level of cabinet. So yes, so it's a policy that has been validated. The one that I'm saying we have to work on is the internal document that will guide the evaluation of the legacy assets. But as far as the policy is concerned,
yeah, they are all in the draft. But be mindful that valuation on legacy asset. I don't know how you're going to value some of these artifacts. They are priceless. So I don't. Maybe you need to. Anyway, let me stop there.
Yes. Thank you, AJ, for that. I just want a clarification. You provided a caveat. So does it mean to say the assets that you verified were basically the roads, the buildings, and the bridges?
the assets that we verified were all other assets with the exception of the roads, the buildings. We to some extent we had some information or data from works, but they had worked on an exercise that was not completed, so that was not optimal for the buildings. So we thought that it was essential that a holistic exercise be carried out, where we look at the roads, the building, as well as the bridges and the land. So we've gone, we're at an advanced stage with the Ministry of Works so as to outsource this to a consultant that will be able to take stock as well as provide values. Yeah.
Which means other than those three categories of assets, all other assets were verified?
Yes.
Okay, then that will take me straight to the response of AJ. AJ, at this point, I think we are trying to provide you a cover, because it is very important that at the end of the day, someone stands for the correctness and accuracy of those information. Because yes, it is true that we are not at the level, you are not at the level of the MDAs, but you have some resources at hand. In your earlier submission, you did indicate that you went with the Department of Internal Audit. Right? Other sectors. So in your submission, I was hoping to hear that some of the informations that they provided you were actually being tested. The legacy assets have gone to way back time immemorial. But internal audit could have taken records from, let's say, 2020 up to 2024. Look at the procurement plan of those departments. Look at the actual assets that were procured. Verify them against the list they are given you. If they want, they can do it for the whole list, or they can do a sampling just to test the accuracy of those records. That's very, very important. Just to avoid taking the information at wholesale. Because if you take the information at wholesale, you validate it and input it in the system, that you will have. But someday somebody is going to ask you about the completeness of those records. And it wouldn't be sufficient to say that we are not at the level of the MDAs. The state machinery is big. That's why we encourage collaboration. So that's why I will still buttress in my final submission to say that let us test those records. Let us not take them at wholesale. Thank you, Honorable Chair. I submit.
Yes.
Okay.
AJ?
I think his submission is noted. However, like I said, in the beginning, when we did this exercise, it was to go and have something documented, which means physical verification. Now, where he is coming to is to look at completeness, which I said, we have not done that yet, but we are starting by documenting what is there. Now, the next exercise is to verify whether this is all there is to it. But this exercise, what we were able to do was to physically verify that the asset does exist. But in terms of completeness, nobody knows whether it is complete or not. But we're tempted to say it's not complete because those that we didn't see, we don't know about. So whether that is all there is to it or there are still some, yes, further exercise can be done. But our target was not that, but all we needed to do is to start somewhere. So now, like he is saying, to confirm completeness, we can use maybe, in fact, go through the system. Because based on our chart of accounts, you would know what, in terms of the classification of assets, what assets the entity has bought over a given period of time, and then you compare it with what you had documented under that particular BE. But that's another assignment. Likewise, ownership, all these things that we're saying, they're like, they recorded, they were shown, directed by the MDAs, that this is part of our assets, blah, blah, blah. So now further exercise need to be done to confirm ownership of those assets, because we know there are some of our government assets that we call their government assets, but legally when you go to the documentation, they might not be government assets. So there are a whole lot of activities as this that this entails, but we're saying we're starting somewhere and then moving on, because we cannot do everything at once. But then the beauty about it is we must start, because even with vehicles, you buy vehicle today, tomorrow it's gone. Nobody can tell you where the vehicle is, but the idea is we want to start something so that as a government, we know where our money is going as far as assets are concerned. We know what we have, and then we try to build a balance sheet for government.
Okay. Well noted, honorable members. On that note, it's convenient time we break for lunch and prayers, and when we resume, we'll continue from page 127 with works. I'm not sure where they're here. Works is here. And then youth and sports, you are the main ones for the remaining queries. Other institutes are there, but they are mainly on works and youth and sports. On that note,
Honorable Chair,
yeah?
sorry, before you land, agriculture also, we have some areas for agriculture in 2022. Those procurement bids. 2022.
That we are not covered.
They were not covered in 2022.
But they were not here.
Mm.
Okay, Agric, you are here. Good. Okay, you're welcome. So I think we'll take from there, then we can proceed with 23. Can we break for lunch and prayers? And we resume by sharp 3 o'clock. Right? Thank you.